Hey, this is Josh McQueen. Today, discussing the discussion thread distinguishing between freedom and liberty. And sorry, that's my dog walking by. But in the Western world, the ideas of freedom and liberty are often intertwined. For many people, freedom and liberty seem to mean nearly the exact same thing. However, although these ideas are closely related, they developed in distinct ways and carry different emphases in Western civilization. So, in some of the earliest influential works of Western tradition, such as Aristotle's Politics, freedom was closely tied to equality among citizens, civic participation, and disciplined self-government. In this context, freedom meant the ability to live as a self-governing member of a political community. Aristotle makes this clear when he writes, "A citizen, in the strictest sense, shares in the administration of justice and in offices." In other words, freedom was not simply the ability to do whatever one wanted. Instead, it was tied to participation in the shared rule of the community. Aristotle reinforces this point when he explains that citizens should know how to govern like a free man and how to obey like a free man. This shows that Greek freedom was rooted in active citizenship and constitutional self-rule rather than just pure individual independence. Over time, however, this emphasis shifted. While Greek writers often connected freedom with citizenship and participation, medieval writers increasingly expressed liberty as a set of legal principles against arbitrary power. So one of the clearest examples of this development appears in the Magna Carta of 1215. Rather than focusing primarily on civic participation, the Magna Carta repeatedly emphasizes different liberties and placed legal limits on the authority of the king. It declared that no free man could be imprisoned, stripped of rights, punished except by lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land. And in this sense, liberty came to mean the rights and protections that were secured by law. Taken together, these sources show an important distinction. In the Greek world, freedom was often understood as active participation in self-government, and in the medieval world, liberty was increasingly understood as protection from unjust rule through law. Although these two ideas remained related, your freedoms were laid out for you through liberty, and you had to participate in these governments. Although they're related, freedom emphasized free action, while liberty emphasized legal security. So there was a difference there. This idea was expanded upon in the opening chapters of Daniel Hannan's Inventing Freedom: How the English-Speaking Peoples Made the Modern World. Hannan explained these concepts throughout the Western English-speaking world into the modern day. He pointed out that liberty is distinct from free license. According to him, liberty meant the freedom that comes from the virtuous and informed exercise of independent judgment. This meant that freedom was the ability to act, while liberty was more structured and lawful, combined with a moral element. A person did not have the absolute right to just do whatever they wanted. Citizens were free to make decisions for themselves, but they were also morally and legally bound by the same laws that protected the community. In this way, liberty was not simply the absence of restraint, but a structured form of freedom, grounded in law, responsibility, and moral judgment. It needed all of those interworking. That's my kind of distinction between freedom and liberty. The one thing I will say about Hannan's book, Inventing Freedom, is the section that talked about the Magna Carta. He mentioned that in the United States, I guess we call it the Magna Carta, and it's usually referred to as Magna Carta, so it's made me very self-conscious whenever I call it the Magna Carta. But that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys for the next one next week. Thank you.